Hi, and welcome to English-Fabule. Are you learning English? Great. Let's learn English with a very interesting story. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment. Let's get started.
It was Christmas Day in the year 2025. Across the globe, people faced many problems. Wars continued in far-off lands, causing much sadness. The climate was changing fast, bringing terrible storms and heat waves to many parts of the world. It was a time of worry, not cheer, for many families. King Charles was about to give his yearly Christmas message to the country and the Commonwealth. This year, his speech was from a special place. He was not in a comfortable palace room. Instead, he sat in the Lady Chapel of Westminster Abbey. This ancient chapel felt very serious and quiet, far from the usual festive settings. It was a place of deep history. The television broadcast began, showing the king. People stopped their Christmas meals and gathered around their screens. But almost at once, a strange feeling came over the nation. Something seemed wrong. The king looked much older and weaker than usual. His face was very pale, and his shoulders seemed to slump. His voice was not strong. It sounded strained, almost like a whisper sometimes. He started to deliver his opening lines, talking about hope and unity in hard times. His words were important, but his appearance told a different story. A small flicker of pain quickly crossed his eyes. His hand, resting on the podium, showed a subtle tremor. These small signs suggested a deep, hidden struggle that he was trying to keep secret from everyone. The audience leaned closer, wondering what the king was truly hiding behind his royal face. Then, without warning, he paused. He had finished the first part of his speech, but he did not go on. The silence stretched out, feeling very long and uncomfortable in every home. The king took a slow breath. He then looked directly into the camera, his eyes wide and serious, as if he was about to share a heavy, important secret with everyone watching. 2. A strange speech. The king breathed in slowly. His eyes, though tired, held a strong, direct gaze. He began to speak again, but his words were very different from any Christmas message before. He did not talk about happy family times or old customs. Instead, he spoke with raw honesty about the world in 2025. Our lives today are filled with sound, he said, his voice a little hoarse but full of purpose. A constant stream of digital noise. Too much information. Too many voices shouting for attention. We hear so much, but often we do not truly listen to each other. This endless chatter can make us feel more alone, not less. He described a crisis of compassion where people found it hard to show kindness and understanding to others. This was not the usual hopeful Christmas message. The king avoided easy, comforting words. He shared his own thoughts, not just as a monarch, but as a man who has lived a long life. He spoke about his deep sense of duty and the short time we all have on earth. He said that a very personal trial had changed his view of everything. This trial, he explained, had profoundly reshaped what he believed the monarchy's purpose should be for Britain and the Commonwealth. He did not say what this trial was. He did not give details. But he promised the audience that he would explain exactly what this big change meant for the nation's future before the broadcast ended. This promise made millions of people lean closer, full of powerful questions. What secret trial had he faced? How would it truly change the future of the crown? He looked straight into the camera, his expression serious and very heavy. Then he spoke a line of poetry, slowly and clearly. As the poet wisely said, "All things pass, but in the final hour the truth will show." He paused again. The silence stretched uncomfortably long. Everyone watching was left to wonder what shocking truth the king was about to reveal next. 3. The secret plan. Far from the solemn quiet of Westminster Abbey, inside Buckingham Palace, there was a place of hidden stress. In a small, busy control room, many lights blinked on computer screens. Sir Clive Alderton, the king's private secretary, watched with very tense eyes. The king's Christmas broadcast was playing live for millions to see, but Sir Clive knew something very important. This was not the speech they had all approved. The king was speaking his own words, going completely off script from the prepared text. This made Sir Clive very worried. Sir Clive had worked on the broadcast plans for many months. He knew how carefully every word usually needed to be checked. The decision to record the message from Westminster Abbey was not a simple choice. It carried much meaning. It was in fact a very important part of a secret plan. The king himself had carefully put this plan together with a small, trusted group of people. The abbey was chosen as a strong symbol, a place where the long history of the monarchy met new ideas for the future. This secret plan would only begin its important steps after the king finished his live broadcast. The exact details of what the king planned to do next were still a deep mystery, known only to him and his loyal team. Just then, a young aide rushed into the control room. He looked very pale and worried as he quickly walked to Sir Clive. He held out a small tablet. "Sir," the aide said, his voice low and urgent, "this is an encrypted message for you. It is from the king's personal physician, marked clearly as urgent." Sir Clive took the tablet without a word. He looked at the screen and quickly read the private message. As he read, the color drained from his face, leaving it white. A cold fear filled him. He now understood that the king was in much more serious danger than anyone had thought possible. The message told a truth that was kept hidden from almost everyone in the palace. 4. The world watches. On Christmas Day, December 25th, King Charles's broadcast filled television screens around the world. In London, a family stopped their festive dinner. Forks lay still on plates as they watched intently. The king spoke from the historic Lady Chapel of Westminster Abbey. His words, usually calm, now carried a new, strong urgency. He spoke of kindness and coming together, but his voice was a little hoarse, showing the depth of his feelings. Thousands of miles away, in Sydney, Australia, a hushed crowd watched the king on a large public screen. People stood quietly, their faces serious. The past year had brought global uncertainty and tragedy, like the attack in Sydney earlier. The king's message, which used to be about gentle compassion, now felt like a desperate plea for unity in a divided world. At the busy offices of number 10 Downing Street, Britain's Prime Minister was on the telephone. He looked very troubled. "What is happening?" he demanded, his voice sharp with surprise. "This is not the agreed speech." The king was speaking about a world full of conflicts and deep worries. His words about hope felt vital, almost life or death. He spoke of people needing to connect and understand each other, but the strength of his voice hinted at a bigger, unspoken problem. The camera briefly showed a framed photograph behind the king. It was a picture of the Prince and Princess of Wales with their children at Sandringham. Soon, the broadcast cut to Sandringham itself. The Prince of Wales was watching his father. His face, at first, showed concern for the king's frail look. But as the speech continued, the prince's expression changed. His eyes widened with clear alarm. He was not aware of his father's full secret plan. He was now realizing, along with millions, that something truly profound was unfolding. The king took a deep, ragged breath. His next words were quiet, but everyone could hear them clearly. He looked straight into the camera, his gaze firm. "What I have shared is merely context for what I must now announce," he said, "a decision that will redefine the crown's covenant with its people." The king took another deep, shaky breath. His eyes, though tired, held a strong resolve. "What I have shared with you today," he said, his voice lower but clear, "is simply the context for what truly lies in my heart." He paused, letting his words be heard across the world. "For some time now, the palace has spoken of a benign condition affecting my health," the king continued, looking directly into the camera. "I must tell you today that this was not the full truth. My condition is serious. It is a life-altering diagnosis that has forced me to look closely at my own mortality. It has made me confront the very meaning of a hereditary monarchy in our modern world." He spoke clearly about his illness, though he did not give it a medical name. This personal trial had changed him deeply. He reflected on the long history of kings and queens and what their role truly meant in today's world. He realized that the monarchy's power should come from active service and compassion, not just from a title passed down through generations. He was not speaking of abdicating or giving up his crown. Instead, it was about transforming the monarchy itself, making it serve the people in a new, more profound way. His eyes met the camera again, steady and full of purpose. "My illness has shown me that the true wealth of a monarchy is not in its ancient jewels or its vast estates," the king stated with quiet power. "It is in its ability to uplift and protect its people and all people on earth. I have seen the world's great suffering, the widespread poverty, and the urgent environmental harm with new, urgent eyes." Then came the shocking announcement. "Therefore," he declared, his voice gaining strength, "I have made a decision that will redefine the crown's covenant with its people." The king explained his bold plan. He would sell a very large portion of the crown estate's private holdings. These were lands and properties that belonged directly to the monarch, gathered over many centuries. The significant funds raised from these sales would not go to the royal family. Instead, it would establish a new, independent global charity. He named it the Sovereign's Compassion Fund.
This fund would have one clear purpose: to actively tackle poverty and to address the critical environmental crises that threaten our planet and its future, all around the world. It was an unprecedented act, a step never before taken by a British monarch. This act would fundamentally change the monarchy's traditional wealth and its power forever. It was a move designed to make the crown's resources directly help those most in need, creating a living symbol of royal service and profound kindness. 6. What happens next? The king finished his speech with a soft voice. "Thank you, and a very happy Christmas," he said. The television screen turned dark. Around the world, people gasped. News channels immediately filled with many talking heads. Reporters spoke quickly, trying to understand what had just happened. They asked many questions. No one had ever heard a king say such things. It was a big shock for everyone watching. In London, the government was in a serious situation. Leaders met at once. The Prime Minister looked worried. They did not know how to react to the king's surprise plan. It was a new and big problem for the country's old rules. Some leaders worried about what this meant for the future of the crown. The public quickly started talking. People had very different opinions. On social media and in homes, some thought King Charles was a hero. They saw his idea as a kind and brave act for the world. They believed he wanted to help people who needed it most.
Other people were not happy. They thought the king had made a big mistake. They felt he had gone too far and was not thinking clearly. This special speech had created a big split among the public. Back inside the quiet Lady Chapel of Westminster Abbey, the king stood alone now. The broadcast had ended. The heavy words he had spoken seemed to take all his strength. He looked very tired and weak. The great confession he had just made to millions of people was a huge weight on him. An aide, who had been watching from a small door, quickly walked towards the king. He wanted to help, to offer support. But it was too late. Just as the aide reached out his hand, the king's eyes rolled back. He fell suddenly, collapsing onto the ancient, cold stone floor. 7. The family's choice. The king lay still on the old stone floor. Doctors and nurses rushed to his side. Their voices were low and quick. A medical team worked fast, trying to help him. The air in the Lady Chapel was full of worry. Sir Clive Alderton, the king's private secretary, watched with a pale face. He knew this might happen. Queen Camilla was on her way to Westminster Abbey. Her car moved quickly through the London streets. The Prince of Wales was also coming. News of the king's collapse had spread quickly, even without a public announcement. The world was in shock from the king's speech, but now there was a new, deep fear. Sir Clive met the Prince of Wales as he arrived.
"Your Royal Highness," Sir Clive said, his voice quiet. The doctors told His Majesty. They warned him that a live broadcast would be too much. They said the stress could be fatal. They advised a pre-recorded speech, a safer one. The prince listened, his eyes wide with a mix of shock and anger. His father had known the danger, but he chose to speak directly. He chose his message over his own health. Now the king's life was not certain. The royal family faced a huge choice. They had to decide what to do about this sudden crisis. But more than that, they had to decide about the king's big plan, the new charity fund. Would they support it, or would they stop it? The king's wish was revolutionary, something never done before. It could change the monarchy forever. This decision would shape the future of the crown and the nation. The Prince of Wales walked into the chapel. He saw the medical team still working around his father. Stunned officials stood nearby, their faces showing confusion and sadness. The weight of his father's secret
and his radical request pressed on him. The prince walked past them all. He moved towards a podium. This podium was set up for reporters, ready for a statement. He stopped there. He took a long, slow breath. His face showed deep sadness, but also a strong will. The whole world was watching. They waited to hear if he would follow his father's wish or choose a different path. 8. A new future. The Prince of Wales stepped forward to the waiting reporters. His face showed both sadness and strong resolve. Around the world, millions of people watched him on television, holding their breath. What would he say after such a dramatic day? The prince began to speak, his voice steady. He told everyone that the royal family would fully respect the king's brave decision. They would honor all of his father's final wishes. He spoke clearly about the sovereign's compassion fund. This new global charity would help people in need and protect the planet. The prince explained that this was not leaving old ways behind. Instead, it was the deepest possible way to show the monarchy's long history of service. It was a true act of caring for the people. He reassured the country that the government would stay strong and stable. He promised to lead this important new chapter for the crown. He would make sure the fund helped many lives. Some hours later, King Charles rested in a quiet hospital room. He was still not strong, but doctors confirmed he was safe. A small television played silently. On the screen, his son, the Prince of Wales, was ending his powerful statement. The king watched, a faint, proud smile touching his lips. His long-held secret plan had finally come to life. The crown had faced a great challenge, but it had not been destroyed. It had changed in a profound and lasting way. This new path would guide the royal family through the coming years of the 21st century. It was born from the king's single, courageous act of great compassion. His message had reached everyone. Now its powerful effects were truly beginning. The world wondered how this new future would unfold. What do you think will be the most significant impact of King Charles's actions on the monarchy in the years to come?
Hey there! Just a second before you go. If you learned something new today, please give this video a like, write your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to the channel. It only takes a second, and it really, really helps to create even better English videos for you. Your support means the world. Thank you.